This is election night in America.
I can't believe after all this, it's gonna finally be over.
I don't know, we'll see. Trump's already got lawyers to fight the results. Well, of course he's gonna win Ohio, we knew that, but if we can get Pennsylvania, Florida, and North Carolina, we don't even need Ohio.
I'm gonna grab a Xanax from the bedroom. Okay, well, you grab me 6. Yeah, I'm just gonna bring the whole bottle. How's that?
And Donald Trump has been elected President of the United States.
Yeah, you guys were right. It's a historic night. Don't worry about it. 8 years are gonna fly by.
Yeah, don't worry. It's gonna be all white.
That was Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock at an election night watch party for some anxious Clinton supporters on last weekend's Saturday Night Live. Like the actors in that sketch, this election has some Americans stressed out. A survey by the American Psychological Association taken before the election found 52% of adults were stressed about this election. In fact, some therapists have even created a term for the phenomenon called election stress disorder. CBS News contributor Dr. David Angus is looking at this sudden phenomenon. All right. So, Dr. Angus, I know there is a lot of data and a lot of people talking about this anecdotally, but I'm interested in the specific Fitbit data. For people who don't know, these fitness trackers. There's some interesting data that was gleaned during this election cycle. Tell us about that.
It's absolutely wild. And, these actually do your fitness and they also track your sleep. And what we saw is that, after the debates, no offense, after the debates, because you did one of the debates, after the debates, people weren't sleeping as much. So the stress of the debate actually affected sleep, and that affects people's lives. I mean, the sleep is obviously very necessary. And if that's a surrogate, just the debates, can you imagine what's happening now with the election over the last week in the United States?
So talk to me, Doctor, about the larger picture here when it comes to stress. What are some of the effects of stress if people continue to hold that stress over a, extended period of time?
Well, we saw today in a study that came out where it looked at Katrina. So a decade after Katrina, hospitalizations for heart events are 300% elevated compared to 2 years prior. So what we see is that stress, your blood pressure goes up, you are stressed. The ramifications aren't just today, but it's down the road also. And so we all need to take that step back. It's critical that all of us, we go for a walk, we exercise, we do the things that we know reduce stress in us. It's really important.
The thing is, we have the holidays coming up. That means getting together with family and friends. And so talk can turn to politics. And especially right after this election, it would seem that could be a difficult topic for some people to maybe enter into conversations with. What would you recommend there?
Well, I can't give you specific family advice for you, but in general, don't have those conversations. Conversations that are going to stress out people, because this is such a polar election, and there's no right answer. One side gets their back up and the other side. That stress isn't good, especially for family dynamics and for everybody's health. So as much as possible, take a step back. Talk about the weather, talk about football, talk about something else during these times, and let's all get over this trauma until we can have a position where we can actually have a discourse. I think the discourse is going to happen, and obviously elections don't dramatically change our country. They're built-in safeguards against that, and at the same time we have to wait for these emotions to die down. Because what we saw from this Katrina study is it can have major ramifications down the road.
What about the consumption of information when people see, for instance, demonstrations in the streets and coverage of that, or they see on social media a lot of times? There can be some really tough rhetoric on social media. What would be your advice to people at this time if they are starting to feel stressed and anxious over what it is that they've been seeing?
Screen time, cut it off.
Cut off screen time.
As over and over again, we're just watching, and it's getting us all riled up because we're seeing the extremes, right? You're not seeing that the majority of the country is not rioting or is not going into the streets and blocking highways. Most people are taking this calmly, and when you see both extremes on the screens, that obviously gets all of us agitated. So step away from the screens, go for a walk. Nature is a remarkable way of relaxing, as is exercise. Turn off those screens.
Right, but not CBSN.
Not CBSN at all.
All right. Dr. David Angus, thank you so much.
Thank you.